last thing to go to bulky or an extra or bags will be placed in the overhead lockers.
Thank you.
They will help us by placing your large bags in the overhead lockers and smaller bags under the seat in front of you. This is created. Also, please remove any cables from the seat as you touch the floor.
1930s, Qantas are world leaders in aviation innovation.
This would be greatly appreciated. Also, ladies and gentlemen, please remove any.
Fasten your seatbelt by inserting a clasp into the buckle and tighten by pulling the strap.
It's Cap again, just to keep you informed. I've changed the runway direction.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I mostly talk about my life in Brisbane, although recently a lot of my content has been travel content, and this video is also a travel video. It's about my flight to Singapore from Brisbane on Qantas QF51, as well as the time that I spent at the Aspire Lounge at Brisbane International Airport. I'm also flying on a Thursday, a weekday, and my first time at the Aspire Lounge. So the Aspire Lounge is a paid lounge. I had a free visit because it was one of 2 complimentary lounge passes on my credit card. I really enjoy lounges, airport lounges. I just think that they're quieter, tend to have less people in them, and sometimes there's something worth drinking and eating. And I had arrived at the airport. I thought I had checked in on the app, and when I got to the airport I thought it was just a bag drop, but the machine was not allowing me to proceed. So I tried to find someone, and the staff were sort of milling around. There's no obvious queue. I thought I was in a queue, and when I got to the front of the queue, the Qantas staff said actually there's another gentleman at the bag drop machine which needed her help. So I find this sort of setup somewhat confusing and frustrating, and people are able to cut queue, not deliberately, because they just see the staff members standing there and they approach them, not knowing that at some other place in that area there is another passenger waiting for assistance. So I had to be a bit pushy, and I was like stubbornly standing next to one of the staff, and I said, the machine is not allowing me to print off a bag tag. And the staff was able to help me, and I asked her what's the problem. Is it showing why I'm not allowed to print off my bag tag? And she said it doesn't say. So that was that. I dropped off my luggage, and after that the process was really smooth. Went to immigration, and this time the machine accepted my passport and I didn't have to go through manual immigration process, so thank God for that. Walked through the duty free, was ignoring all of it because I'm not intending to purchase anything on my way to Singapore. Got to the Aspire Lounge, which is a bit away from the sort of main area, public area where most of the shops are, most of the dining is, and most of the lounges are. It's closer to the other end of the terminal where the gates are. Got to the Spiral Lounge, the staff there checked my card. I had to pay first, so there was a charge on my credit card of about $55, maybe $60. I then was on the app to my bank and I said, they've charged me, is that correct? I thought I only had used one lounge pass in March last year at Changi Airport, and I was told that they charge first and then the bank will review how many passes I had used, and if it was determined that indeed this was my second pass which I was entitled to, then they would credit the money back. It would take about 10 working days, and I was fine with that. Aspire Lounge seems quite new. There weren't too many people there, probably because it's paid entry, and there was a little bit of food. There was a barista, so I got a cappuccino made for me. I had a little bit of the food. There wasn't an egg dish, so I was a bit disappointed with that because I tend to have eggs for breakfast. This was about 7 or 8 in the morning. My flight was due to depart at around 10. So I had maybe an hour and a half in the lounge. And I grabbed some food, had my coffee. I think I had a juice as well. Then I sat at my table for a little bit. There were PowerPoints, so I tried to charge my mobile because I wasn't sure if there would be onboard charging on the plane. And yeah, it was pretty comfy. Staff were pretty friendly, pretty good service, and I was happy with my time in this lounge. Then I went to the gate to board. It seemed pretty busy, and I noticed that Qantas had a lot of other airlines code numbers on their screen. There was Jetstar and a few others, and I thought, well, that's probably why it's full, because it's a code share flight. Got on, boarded. I had a window seat, and provided on the seat was a blanket, a pillow, and headphones. The blanket was in plastic. My seat neighbor arrived, and it was a gentleman, and he was a quiet seat neighbor for the flight. No problems there. Then we took off, and we were given a bottle of water and a pretzel snack, and I thought, oh, is this it? But no, there was a lunch service and a couple other snacks later. I spent most of the flight watching White Lotus, so that was an interesting show to watch. I think I watched the first season. There were reasonable options for entertainment, so that was pretty good. I had thought to watch the House of Dragon, but I did watch a little bit of that on a previous flight. I found the episode that I watched a little bit upsetting, and I didn't want to go there. Flight was pretty smooth. We had clear blue sky, and the meal was the meal was an attempt at an Asian chicken dish, so it wasn't that great. The sauce tasted kind of weird, and on this flight there was no menu on the screen. On that previous flight in March, they had the menu on the screen, and that was pretty cool because I could see in advance what was on offer. And the thing with where I was sitting, by the time the food trolley came around, one of the options was gone, and that was one which I thought I might have wanted, because I tend to pick the cuisine of the country I've departed from. So the first dish, I believe it was a beef dish that was like a Western dish, and I would have picked that over the Asian dish. But by the time it got to my row, all the beef was gone. Probably other passengers had the same idea. And then after that, we had the spice ice cream. I kind of like that. It's a bit of a nice touch to have an ice cream after the lunch. Then as we were about to land, about an hour before we landed, they served a chicken mango chutney roll. and that was served pretty casually, just in a box. The lunch service, I believe, came with some bread, which was rock hard, so that wasn't amazing. But apart from that, the flight from Brisbane to Singapore was uneventful. It was comfortable. I went to the toilet when my seat neighbor got up, so that was a couple of times, maybe 3 times. And there wasn't too long of a wait to use the bathroom, so that was pretty good. Plus, I felt like I should probably get up because of my lower back condition. So my lower back is the reason why I do prefer to fly business class, because with business class I can just get up whenever without bothering anyone, because all the business class seats on Qantas have direct aisle access. But this is my second international flight this year and everything is just really expensive. Then we approached Changi and that was pretty smooth. So Changi Airport has a pre-departure process where we complete the arrival card online within 3 days, including the day of the flight. So I had done that online and received the confirmation. And this is the first time I've arrived in Singapore as an adult. The previous time I was a child, so I didn't know anything. I just did what my mother told me to do, because my father was already in Singapore that time. And they have machines at Changi Airport where I slipped in my passport. There was that face scan and the staff had to check something because one of the staff in uniform came to my lane and he was tapping something on his iPad, and off I went to the baggage carousels and my luggage was there pretty quickly. Then off I went because I was staying overnight at the Jewel, which will be the subject of my next video. So QR51 was pretty good, smooth, uneventful flight. I was happy with the snacks and food that they gave us. They also came around with some salted caramel cookies, so that was pretty good, pretty yummy, and it was all fine. I was happy with that flight. The only thing I would like to see done better is the process at Brisbane Airport where we're trying to drop off our bags. I kind of wish that they had an actual counter for help, and then some sort of process, whether it's people lining up at a specific spot or a number system so that passengers know where they are in the queue. The roaming sort of system that they had when I was trying to check in my baggage is a little irritating, and sometimes people tend to get a bit frazzled when there's a flight to catch or there's some sort of issue with their ticket. I remember there was a lady who I think was told that she'd have to go to Flight Center. So can you imagine if we got to the airport and then we're told that something's wrong with our ticket and maybe the flight is leaving. I think that lady's flight was leaving less than a couple of hours, maybe 9, and my flight was at 10. So she was really cutting it close, whatever the issue was. So that's probably the only sort of negative part of my flight, the part where I was trying to drop off my baggage. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!